Previously on Escape the Night.
So Matthew tells us the book has to be in room 666.
The scary part of the story is that apparently her spirit has never left room 66.
The guests quickly learn that this ghost will force them to make several difficult decisions.
It will cost one of us our life? Fuck you.
Basically what this is going to do, instead of voting, the person that wins, they're going to be kind of forced to show if they have any alliances or if they have any favorites.
Players struggled in the immunity competition, but it was Stephanie who came out on top and had to make a difficult decision on who to save.
I would like to keep Shelby safe.
Of fucking course.
In the final death challenge, it was Sam who came out on top and had to make the hardest decision of them all.
And she basically says that I have to make a decision like her fiance did. I have to choose who lives and who dies. And for that, I saved Jeremy. I feel so bad because I made this decision.
I'm heartbroken that Myles is gone.
So yay, we found the book.
As we're trying to figure out what just happened, like literally we were picked up off the ground and thrown across the room. And I'm still confused on what happened.
So Violet helps us up and tells us that that was the last member of the Masked Man's army, being the Warlock.
I don't even know what a warlock is, let's be real, but I don't really want to find out.
And the Warlock is the final member of the Masked Man army. And for once throughout this journey we've been on, I start to gain some hope. I really do. I'm hopeful in that there is a way out of here, and we are so close to the end. We just need to defeat one more member of the Masked Man army. We need to get one more crystal, and we're there.
And she grabs the book and tells us that we have to help Matthew and Myles before it's too late. And again, I'm like, why don't we just leave them? They brought us here. But we have to go save them, so whatever.
So we head downstairs to the casino. Oh, I love casinos. Vegas. Anywhere with this damn cruise ship. Ugh. So we go in and out of the poker tables and the slot machines. Really want to play, but I know it's not the time or place to do that. And we see Matthew tied to this giant wheel with a bandana gag in his mouth, and it looks very horrid. I do not want to be him right now.
On a far poker table, we see the Warlock, and the Warlock is just chilling there, sipping a martini, holding the final crystal. And we weren't trying to be super obvious that we were there, but the Warlock immediately realizes that we are in the casino, and so he shouts out, "You can come out now." So we do, and Violet immediately questions him, "Where's Myles?" And, he immediately responds back with, "Well, do you want your friend Matthew?" And we're like, "Yeah, obviously." And she goes, "What do you want? What's the catch?" So the Warlock looks at us, points to myself, Jeremy, Shelby, and Stephanie, and says, "I want one of them. A life for a life. One person is not making it out of the casino alive."
And I'm like, please be a competition I'm good at, so I don't have to do it. And then they're like, oh, there's no competition. What the fuck? Now we just have to vote each other in. There are 4 of us. 4. That means the odds are horrible. I might go in. I have not experienced a final death challenge, and I really don't want to at this point.
And we immediately just have to vote. And this is the hardest vote that we've had to do so far. There's only 3 people that you can vote for besides yourself, and the chances of each of us going in there are even higher because everybody else has just as few people to vote for.
Having no immunity challenge this round was actually kind of interesting. It made things go a little bit differently. It basically forces any relationships we have on this cruise to either shine or crash and burn. one or the two. Either way, I feel like because there's no immunity, no way for anyone to be safe, we're probably going to end up with one of each of our names in the pot later for choosing for the final death challenge. Unless something crazy happens, I feel like that's the most likely scenario here.
As we're talking through it, I talked to Jeremy, and we wanted to vote in Stephanie. Stephanie has not been in a final death challenge, and we think it's time for her to prove herself. We haven't seen her yet having to manage one of these. Jeremy's been in a lot, I've been in a few, and Shelby has been in one as well. So we kind of feel like it's her time.
So going into this vote, I made sure that I had a conversation with everybody ahead of time. Stephanie and I agree that if we don't put if I don't put her in, she won't put me in, so I'm feeling good about that. Shelby and I have had a really good relationship all game. She says that she's not going to vote for me, so I'm feeling good about that as well. And then Sam tells me that he's not going to vote for me either because we've been working together all game, so why would he throw me in now? And he just saved me, so it doesn't make sense. So I'm feeling pretty confident about the fact that my name's not going to be in the pile, but I also promised all three people that I wouldn't put them in, so I'm going to have to be lying to somebody. Oops.
Voting this round was an entirely different experience compared to any other round for me. I had a choice that I needed to make ultimately. It was either to stay close to Stephanie and choose one of the boys to vote out, either Jeremy or Sam. My other option is to potentially try to work with Sam or Jeremy, and I have been talking to Jeremy throughout this entire game, off and on a little bit, and I still haven't voted Jeremy yet. I don't know if he's voted me, but I have never voted him. Even though he's been in the final death challenge, it feels like a million times now. I haven't voted him, and I feel like, honestly, our best strategic move right now is to at least try to convince Stephanie and Sam not to vote for me or Jeremy. So what we're doing now is essentially saying that we're going to vote for each other and hope that Stephanie and Sam will agree to vote for each other. Since I'm talking to Stephanie more, Jeremy's talking to Sam more, it could potentially work. And then ultimately, I would vote Sam, and then Jeremy would vote Stephanie. If Jeremy's telling the truth, which, I mean, you never really know. Anything could happen.
When I'm talking to Shelby, she tells me that she does not want to vote for me, or is not going to vote for me. And, you know, because she's appreciated me being nice to her and me talking to her. And that is music to my ears. I really hope that she is telling the truth, because I do not want to go into this final death challenge. Then I get to Stephanie, and it's a completely different story. The first thing she tells me is she's not going to be putting in her girl, Shelby. And I was like, okay, I respect that. Then she says, well, Jeremy has been in a lot of final death challenges. Who does that leave left? Me. So I immediately knew, without having to even converse more with her, that she was going to put my name down. So I knew I had at least one vote going in there.
I decide to vote for Stephanie.
I cast my vote for Stephanie.
I'm voting for Sam.
I vote Jordan.
The first card drawn is the singer. The second card drawn is the entertainer. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
What do you know? Worst case scenario happens. Me and Sam going into the final death challenge, and I am literally devastated. Sam is my best friend who's still here, and I want to win because I want to survive, but I also don't want him to die, so it's hard.
This sucked. I have been working with Jeremy since the beginning, and I really hate that I have to go up against him, because he is someone who I very much trust and value in this game. But at the end of the day, like, if I have to go up against him, I have to go up against him, and I'm going to do my best to try and survive. Jeremy is a fierce competitor. He's won so many death challenges already, so I am a little intimidated. But I'm definitely going to try my hardest.
Holy shnikes. I didn't get picked. I have not been picked for any of these finals. I have not had to go kill anybody. How is this my luck? It's gotta be running out. Something's gonna happen. But that's beside the point. Jeremy and Sam get picked. Go girls, it's me and Shelby saved this round, yay!
Well, that didn't exactly go as planned. Based on the 2 drawn cards, either everyone was lying and there were only 2 names put in the pot, or we were all trying to pull off the same thing and it ended up being one of each of us all in the pot, which is exactly what we thought was going to happen in the first place. Obviously, Stephanie didn't believe me that I was saying I was voting Jeremy, so she probably still voted Jeremy in order to get Jeremy in there. And then I still voted Sam, which resulted in Sam getting in there. I don't know if Sam and Jeremy genuinely did vote Stephanie, in which case I may have been the only person that was safe. I do feel a little bit bad though, because Sam directly asked me near the end of the round if I voted for him. I told him I didn't. I feel horrible because I did. I voted for Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. It mostly was it just came down to the fact that we don't talk as much. I think that you are absolutely great, but unfortunately, I mean, we have to pick somebody, and for me, you were the one I had the least connections with.
Start.
In this final death challenge, the 2 selected guests had to spin around 10 times, transfer 10 quarters 1 foot across using only a pair of chopsticks, and place them in a tower on top of a bottle cap. The player that completed this challenge the fastest would continue to get a chance to escape the night, while the other would fall short.
Three, two, one, stop.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, stop.
Because maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me.
So the warlock finishes his martini, looks down the line of all of us, and his gaze stops on Sam. He opens his hands and he has a deck of cards, and they begin to float in the air, and then he gestures towards Sam and all of the cards fly at him and slice his neck. And Sam falls to the ground and is dead. And before I even have a second to think or react, Violet reaches into the warlock's pocket to grab the crystal, tosses the crystal to me, and I catch it and stab the warlock until he starts screaming in pain and explodes. This is the 8th crystal. We have them all, and we can finally try to stop the masked man.
Rest in peace, Sam. Good job, Jeremy. It's good to have you back.
Jeremy won! I mean, it's happy, but it's sad, because Sam had also reached out before the end of the challenge saying that he thought his time wasn't going to be good enough to win. He already thought that he lost, which made it kind of sad that he was reaching out. He told me that he had a great experience, and I felt horrible. I mean, I did vote for him, put in there, and he might know that. He might have a suspicion of that, but I mean, he didn't deserve to die either. None of us did, and I hope that what we can do now is finally actually defeat the masked man.
So Violet helps Matthew down from the wheel, and I'm starting to realize that my best friend just died in front of my eyes. And it sucks.
So the guests are able to defeat the warlock. They get me down off the wheel, thank God, because again, if there was gonna be spinning, I was gonna throw up. So they get me down off the wheel, and I gotta tell them something, and it's about Myles.
Violet goes over to the wheel and unties Matthew, and he's like, hey, there's a problem. And Violet's like, no, we have the crystals and we have the book. We can go defeat the masked man. And Matthew's like, no, it's Myles. And I'm like, yeah, where the fuck is Myles?
And Matthew starts to talk about Myles when he gets cut off by the loudspeaker talking to us again. He tells us that he sees that we've retrieved all the crystals and that we think we're gonna survive. And then the loudspeaker cuts off again and the masked man steps out from behind one of the slot machines. And he says, none of you are leaving this ship. But I recognize that voice. That's not the same voice that we heard before. What if the masked man is not actually a masked man?
I think she's behind the masked man. And I don't think Myles and Matthew anymore are behind it. I really think it's Violet.
It was Myles all along? I feel so betrayed.
I will complete the spell tonight, and I will rule the world.
That fucking Myles tripped over luggage.
Clumsy as always.
We hear over the intercom a voice, and the voice is of the masked man.
This masked man is just a big bully.
Yo, who the fuck took the book?
Who stole it? Somebody had to steal it.
And before I know it, the masked man takes off his hood and his mask, and it's fucking Myles.
And it's Myles. He's the one that's been killing us this whole freaking time.
Because who saw that one coming? Of course, it's obvious now that we know everything. Something was suspicious. Somebody stole the book.
This bitch has been fucking us up since the beginning as the masked man. And we all thought it was Violet, but fuck, this bitch is gonna die. You are dead.
How did we not figure out sooner that Myles was the masked man? I mean, it makes so much sense now. I mean, he's just sitting there pretending to be all innocent. And then, I mean, we should have just listened to Stephanie when she called out the fact that the masked man can't spell, Myles can't spell. Should have put two and two together. I mean, it's clear now why we're losing all the challenges is because we had a betrayer amongst us. So you know what? Myles, now that we know who you are, now that we know who the target is, you are so going down.
And I don't really know how to feel. I kind of feel betrayed and like really hurt and like I thought we were in this together. I thought we were doing this thing that's like a fun little break and just it's to process that like we were in this together, like we did everything together. This whole thing was our idea, but I guess he had other motives.
If anything, at the very least, I am avenging Sam, Alejandro, all of the people who have died that I was friends with, and all of the people that I had a hand in killing because I beat them in final death challenges. I will destroy the masked man and everything he has worked for.
I mean, there's only so much more we can do. I believe the three of us that are left right now, me, Stephanie, and Jeremy, we're all fighters. We're going to get through this no matter what. We're going to find a way. There's no way we're not getting off this freaking boat.
I am happy to have played this game. I'm happy to have made it this far and, you know, I've helped several people along the way, but this is where it ends for me, and I would not have changed playing this game for anything else.